Keith L. Reed Jr., 51, school superintendent of Clymer Central Schools, had spent his life in education. Teacher, principal, superintendent, he knew the kids, knew the community, loved his daughters, and put everything he had into his work. He had just walked his daughter Caitlin down the aisle and was looking forward to the fall semester. But on Friday, September 21st, 2012, something went wrong. Keith had gone out for dinner with a friend, came home and started packing for a superintendent conference in Albany. That night no one could reach him, not by phone, not by knocking on the door. By Sunday, his daughters were worried. He always answered. He never ignored them. Keith's brother Kevin, a former FBI agent, went to check the house. Something was off. Bags half packed, money out, outside lights missing. No signs of struggle, no blood, nothing stolen. It was like he had been interrupted, like someone had been waiting for him. The police were called, and their dogs led them to the hedges by the property. Keith Reed was lying there, shot 3 times, twice in the back, once in the chest. The small town of Clymer, less than 2,000 people, couldn't comprehend it. Keith was beloved, devoted, careful. Nothing had been stolen. Nothing made sense. But soon, the story started to emerge. 2 years earlier, Keith had met Mary Taglianetti online. They went on one dinner date. That was it. She returned to her husband Rob in Virginia. In the spring of 2012, she started messaging Keith again. He thought she was divorced. She wasn't. Rob Taglianetti found the messages. Angry emails went back and forth. Threats, warnings, obsession. Keith didn't take it seriously at first, but Rob did. He drove up from Virginia, removed the bulbs from the outside lights, ambushed Keith at his own front door and shot him in cold blood. His phone ended up tossed hundreds of miles away. Keith Reed, a man who had devoted his life to education and family, was dead over emails, jealousy, and a one-night connection years before. When police found Keith's body, the scene told them a lot. 3 gunshots, close range. No robbery, no forced entry. The lights outside the house, unscrewed. Whoever did this knew what they were doing, and it wasn't random. Word spread fast in Clymer. A superintendent murdered? People were shocked, scared, whispering about who could have wanted him dead. Keith's family was devastated, but his brother Kevin, with his FBI background, pushed investigators to move quickly. They traced Keith's phone records and computer messages, and right away a name kept coming up: Mary Taglianetti. She wasn't a stranger. Keith had gone on a single date with her 2 years earlier, and then, out of nowhere, she had started messaging him again in 2012. The messages seemed harmless at first, until detectives learned Mary was married. Her husband, Rob, had already seen them. Rob wasn't just jealous, he was furious. Investigators dug into his emails, and they were loaded with threats. Angry lines about betrayal, about Keith staying away from his wife. The kind of messages that make you feel the man behind them is spiraling.
Spring of 2012, I had Facebook friend requested him, and he wrote me a note saying, "How are you?"
Okay.
And that's how it kind of started. You know, the conversation just escalated, and he wanted to call me.
Okay.
So then we would talk for a couple of hours while Rob was gone, and we would trade emails. Anyway, Rob found some of the emails because I had accidentally left my email up. He got very upset. But then Rob Googled Keith's name, found out where he lived. Rob starts getting dressed and acting very upset, and this was 11 o'clock at night.
When police checked surveillance footage, they caught his SUV making the long drive from Virginia to western New York. And neighbours had seen a strange car near Keith's house the night he vanished. By the time authorities pieced it together, Rob was already gone, driving back to Virginia. A bolo went out. 2 days later, officers caught him at a military base where he was hiding. In his vehicle, guns, ammo, and Keith's missing phone. That phone, tossed aside like evidence didn't matter, sealed the case. It was clear, this wasn't a robbery. This wasn't random. It was a calculated ambush fueled by rage and obsession. After weeks of investigation, all the pieces of Keith Reed's murder began to fall into place.
Never in a million years, no matter what he said or did I ever consider or conceive of the thought of harming him or hurting him or living with him.
The court case painted a picture of jealousy, manipulation, and obsession that escalated into lethal violence. Mary's role as a manipulator came under scrutiny, and while she may have pulled strings, it was Rob who carried out the final fatal act. In the courtroom, the jury saw the sequence of threats, the timing of the emails, and the physical evidence that connected Rob to the scene. The emails and revolver that he used to kill Keith. His defense tried to argue provocation and manipulation, claiming Mary orchestrated the whole thing, but it was not enough. The verdict came down guilty of second-degree murder. The sentence, 25 years to life, reflected the brutality of the crime and the community's demand for justice. For the small town of Clymer, the horror lingered long after the trial ended. Keith's daughters mourned a father taken too soon. Friends and colleagues grappled with the shock of betrayal, and the story became a cautionary tale. A one-night stand, a few angry emails, and unchecked jealousy could explode into unimaginable tragedy. The lessons were harsh and clear. Sometimes the smallest sparks could ignite devastating fires, and in a town where everyone knows your name, the shadows behind closed doors could still conceal lethal danger.
At a press conference today, investigators said the murder was not related to Reed's job as the school district superintendent in Clymer. The 51-year-old Reed was an assistant principal in the Horset and Campbell-Savona school districts before taking the job in Clymer. Police say there was a personal issue between the two men. Police have ruled out a murder-for-hire plot and say Reed's death was not drug-related.
In the end, Keith Reed was more than a victim. He was a father, a teacher, a mentor, and a man who devoted his life to shaping the future of children he would never see grow old. His loss rippled through a small town that had embraced him, leaving grief and a profound sense of vulnerability. This is indeed a tragedy, and it reminds us that human lives are fragile, that trust can be betrayed, and that even the most ordinary moments, emails, misunderstandings, fleeting encounters, can have life-altering consequences. It's nice to see his daughters honouring their father's memory and the enduring hope that awareness, vigilance, and care for one another can prevent such darkness from taking hold again.